This is Pat Cleet for TII Technical Education Systems, here to introduce you to TII's MB200 Pneumatic Fundamentals Trainer. The first things you're going to realize when you take out the Pneumatic MB200 Technology Fundamentals Trainer is how sturdy it is. This is a high-quality system that is meant to last years, using hundreds of students being able to use it. So you can see right now when it comes out of the suitcase system here, this system is meant to last. It's very portable and sturdy, which is actually very rare for trainers for both high school and colleges. Most of the time they're meant to be stationary in one place, and wherever you put them, that's where they're meant to be. Where this one can travel from classroom to classroom, it can go into small rooms that just have a desk. All that is required to make this system run, and all of TII's technical fundamental line, is a 110 outlet. And now let's go ahead and dive into the system and see what it comes with. So right when you open it up, you're going to see a number of different parts and components. But first we got to get through the stuffing. So every system comes with a certain amount of protection. You can dispose of these if you know they're never going to travel, or you can hold on to them. I recommend holding on to them, so if you need to move rooms, move schools with them, or if you're even taking them out to a corp ed job, doing some industrial training on site, these make it really nice and gives you just a little extra security when you go to move them. Okay? And right away you're going to begin to discover all of the different components that come in bags at first, but then become mounted in the system so you can easily check to make sure that all the equipment is in here. You get some basic to advanced pneumatic components, okay, where the students will actually hook and install all of this in the system. This does a number of things for students. Not only does it teach them in this specific order a little bit about what pneumatics means, then it teaches them about the different parts and has them applying those parts to circuits immediately. Then it starts to pull all of that information together where you actually begin to assemble real pneumatic systems. And then at the end, it starts to talk to you about all of the different physics that are happening here. Oftentimes with trainers, what happens is we spend the first part of the course just talking about all the physics of what is happening in a system before students ever get to understand what is the system, what are we actually talking about. So they've reversed that in this, and that really, really encourages students' engagements. But more importantly, it helps students to understand later on why those physics are so important. Why not only getting the system to work, but how it works becomes so important. And that's one of the best things, I think, about the TII Technology Fundamental Trainers. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper and get this piece organized so you can see exactly how quick you can go from pulling this out of the box to having students engaging with the technology. Once you've unpacked this system, you're only a couple minutes away from getting this completely set up and letting students run it. So the first thing we want to do is start to break down some of the components that come with it. Okay? We have mounting brackets for mounting different components onto the aluminum extrusion down here at the bottom. Here we have a meter here, which velcros right to here. Very cool feature, so you know that's never getting lost. We have a double acting cylinder, which has its place right here. And again, everything is sketched out, so you know exactly where everything goes. Single acting cylinder. We have some weights when we start to get into the physics experiment. We have a contamination chamber. It is really great when you can walk up to a machine, not have to pull out any drawers, not have to run through a parts list to make sure that everything's there. You can walk up to it and you'll know within a quick 15-second visual check if all the parts are there. All right, so we have our lubricator. We have our filter. So these go into position. We have our Venturi valve with our vacuum. We have an extra flow control valve for it. And we have pneumatic tubing. Now you may want to replace this and replenish this from time to time if you want your students cutting these every single time, or after the first group has cut them, you'll just have those stored in here with zip ties or in a bag. So it's really up to you and how much hands-on experience you want them to have. Then we have some of our extra mounting kits and some of our tees, which stay in this handy little box right here. As stated before, all that's needed in the suitcase system by the school is a 110 volt power supply, and this thing's going to be ready to be powered up. So I'm going to walk through how simple it is to get a system up and running. Okay, now this is a combination of a couple of different labs in the manual. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get the mounts ready. So the MB200 comes with 4 mounts that work really well with this aluminum extrusion, and they're very easy to put in. Slide it in, tighten up the screw, and this can come over this way or this way, and it's very flexible. Loosen it up and it'll scoot whichever direction you want it to. So now that we have them in there and they're fully adjustable, I'm going to go ahead and grab a manually controlled 5-2 directional control valve. I'm going to go ahead and use the transparent double acting cylinder for this one so we can really see how this thing operates. How you want to mount this is somewhat up to you. So we go ahead, we take these mounting screws here that are meant to go right into this transparent cylinder. Attach the wing nut. Well, one of the great things about this trainer is, let's just say for example, the way this is facing isn't going to work super well with me. It's going to make things a little extra tight. So what I can do is I can either come to this side if I have enough room, or I can just twist this around. Now the parts are mounted. The next part is going to be wiring everything up. Again, you could pre-cut the hoses, or you can have the students learn about how they come in and connect all of these. Now everything is set up with a quick disconnect, so you can work quickly, and they can be connected and disconnected. And quick disconnects are industry standards, so we can learn sizing and appropriate wiring. If you really wanted to get fancy, you can make them run underneath. It all just depends on where your students are at and at what level you're training. Believe it or not, this thing is ready for the air compressor to kick on. You can hear the compressor running, and it's going to charge up. We have a pressure regulator, just like you would see at any point of work out in the field. We have a manifold with an on-off switch, so you can actually hook up multiple circuits. So, open up this valve. The air is open. And here we go. We already have an operating circuit. This is a fully functioning circuit that a student will most likely see out there in the field. Again, there's so much real world here being then taught with the physics afterwards. You learn the components, you apply the components to a circuit, you learn advanced circuits, and then after that you learn the physics behind all of this. It really is a full system in a briefcase. So now when you're ready to have your students disassemble this and make sure it's ready for the next person, it's pretty simple. We do have some air in here that we want to drain out. So the first thing we want to do, we'll crack this open a little bit, let the air drain out. And again, the pressure should never get high enough to where it becomes dangerous. But what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and start disconnecting all of the hoses. Once everything's disconnected, you can go ahead and remove all of the parts. Do the same thing with the directional control valve. One of the great things about this is it shows you which direction this goes for easy mounting. So it's not only easy to see if all the components are there, it's actually very easy to know which direction the components need to go. One of the things we always want to emphasize to our students that when we're using these wing nuts for mounting, this isn't an arm wrestling competition. We want to make sure that we're being respectful of the equipment. This stuff is tough and it'll last for years and years as long as it's maintained properly. Unplug the system. You can have them zip tie this together or wire tie it, however you want, or you can have them let it sit there. You can choose to put the protective stuffing back in, or of course, you can close this up and it's ready to go. This has been Pat Cleet for TII Technical Education Systems, introducing you to TII's MB200 Pneumatic Trainer. For more information on this and other products, please contact your sales rep or visit us at tii-tech.com. Thanks for watching and hope to see you soon.